Hey Angel.
Hey Andrea, have you heard what Professor Dexter said about cultural dimensions? I find it quite interesting and would love to learn more about it. Cultural traditions are important in the hospitality industry as they transmit values for colleagues and customers. I'm wondering where you come from.
Yes, he talked about the cultural insight of Hofstede and analyzed the five dimensions as indicated. Interestingly is, I'm a Canadian but my parents are from Hong Kong. My background allowed me to grow in two different cultures and experience them firsthand. Where are you from, Angel?
That's really fascinating. I also grew up in two different cultures. I was born and raised here in Switzerland, but my parents are originally from Hong Kong as well. When Professor Dexter talked about the five dimensions, I could really feel how my personality or the act of my behavior changes within a culture.
I absolutely agree with you. I can go on with these cross-cultural studies forever.
Wow, you seem to understand the field very well. Do you think you can apply a few cultural dimensions of Hofstede in your previous working experience or even in the future, so I could have a better understanding of this theory?
Definitely. I've completed an internship as a learning and development assistant under Grand Hyatt Hong Kong. Firstly, let me tell you about femininity in Hong Kong. Femininity traits are described as caretaker and nurturer of the family. While I was interning, I was actually managed by a female manager who is a local. She is very helpful in understanding that I was new to the environment. Therefore, she was training and assisting me in the beginning of my intern. And through my observation, majority of my colleagues are female than male, since human resource provide more into people-to-people service. Therefore, in my opinion, HR is like the core of the organization similar to a caretaker of the family, containing female traits. As on the other hand, living standard in Hong Kong is expensive while wages are paid low. This leads to the growth of women workers into the labor industry. As indicated on the statistic from country profiles, women participation within the labor force has been increased rapidly over the years. So, what about Switzerland? Is Switzerland a masculinity or femininity country?
That's really interesting. I now see how the working culture in Hong Kong is. Compared to Switzerland, it's quite different as it is surrounded and influenced by these nations. Switzerland is the opposite of Hong Kong. During my first internship, I was working in the sales and marketing department in Marriott Hotel Zurich, where my male manager is from Germany, who is very goal-oriented and would compare our department with the reservation and banquet department. Due to his background, I therefore believe the masculinity traits are very strong. As described by Höfwerk, masculine cultures are dominated by values such as success, assertiveness, and competition. Based on the statistic from Hofstede, Germany was rated very high as a masculinity country, with a ranking of 10 out of 50 nations. Besides, my fellow colleagues are from Switzerland. The masculinity trait for Switzerland is even higher ranked. Through my observation, my fellow colleagues were very self but goal-oriented with their work and usually strives for success. I could feel that there was a constant competition between each other of how many new business they have attained. This can also be linked to the Lewis model, where Switzerland and Germany are both placed at the linear active category. This is where people from both countries plan ahead, schedule, organize, and only do one thing at a time.
Did you know that Hong Kong rated higher in power distance than Switzerland according to the Hofstede Center, as you see? To collaborate with Hong Kong, Chinese families are brought up to be more obedient and respectful to elderly and higher authorities, compared upon Western countries. Most of my colleagues are local. They tend to be very hierarchy-based and obedience to hotel rules. For example, during our meeting, we presented the order from managers to lower authorities. Chinese culture emphasizes on classification of the hierarchy structure, which influenced HK businessmen paying more attention onto their title with different manager and director level. Therefore, it was essential to greet the most senior member first. Moreover, it's hard to say no in Chinese culture as it considered being disrespectful. But the suggestion from Kan and Lau to move up the career ladder is to agree and not question your seniors. Based on my experience, I found it quite accurate, since most of my managers got promoted by being helpful and respect others.
I didn't know that the difference was that big. However, I've noticed that the hierarchy structure in my hotel was not that strong. My manager usually tried to look less powerful than he is. He preferred to be looked at the same level as everyone and also resolve problems and work together towards the same goal. Typically, my colleagues or even myself as a trainee are empowered to make decisions during sales calls. We were able to offer potential customer room discounts or dining coupons without consulting our manager first. This, however, contains careful planning as well as managing the time efficiently, which can also be referred as the M time on a house cultural dimension. However, there are some exceptional situations where my manager needs to take initiative, such as during important business partner meetings. Typically, my colleagues and me could approach the manager openly and question as well as ask for a consultation regarding work objectives. Therefore, saying no is not an offense, but it shows that I can openly express my own opinion and feelings. Asking questions show how we were engaged with the work as well as shows our passion on it. Opposite of Hong Kong, promotions will usually be given based on their skills and abilities. This is also the reason why Swiss are more job-oriented and individualistic. It is said that Switzerland is an individualistic country. Hofstede mentioned it is supposed that greater wealth brings more individualism and greater poverty more collectivism to a country. However, it is too biased to say that Swiss is individualistic and only pay minimal consideration to the group. Hofstede questionnaires was conducted among the employees of IBM, and IBM got its own working culture. Through my experience, I can say that my colleagues are more job-oriented and competitive towards each other, therefore how they talk about their own personal life. This can also be seen on the entrepreneurs. Swiss culture says to keep work and personal life separately. According to Stevenson, he believes that people can positively work together cooperatively toward their work objectives without having to form a close relationship. As an example, during my internship, there was a time when two of my colleagues failed to reach a sales goal. My colleagues would not hesitate to pass him their new customers in order to cover their target. Nevertheless, I believe that the higher a person's position is, the more individualistic the person is or will be.
I also disagree with the same dimension from Hofstede. As shown on the chart, Switzerland being a high individualism country than to Hong Kong as a collectivism society. However, in my opinion, the dimension is too fake and not applicable into all workforce. While I was working within the office, I often found myself working as an individual creating posters for billboards and preparing materials. Barely had the chance to communicate with other colleagues due to a handful of tasks as assigned. Therefore, I believe it also depends on which department we're located. Since back of house is more into individual duties than front office department treasures more into teamwork. Moreover, as Wong discussed, society and each countries are changing so is the dimension of individualism. Also on top of his study, with the growth of Chinese immigration, Chinese are found to be more westernized nowadays. Apart from Hofstede, individualism and collectivism can also be seen on the Louis model, where it shows the multi-active, linear active, and reactive. Hong Kong is more likely to be on the reactive side as they are more people-oriented and uses connection as shown on crosscultural.com. For instance, my colleagues explained me about a system called referred bonus. They told me when staffs recommend someone into the company, they will get a cash reward. Therefore, building relationship can also be seen as a hiring and promotion opportunity. To sum up, the cultural difference can be clearly seen between Hong Kong and Switzerland with these three dimensions of Hofstede. Besides, there are varieties of cross-cultural diversity theories such as Hofstede, Louis model, Entrepreneur, and Halls, which we analyze throughout our experience. All in all, these theories cannot be applied to everyone as each individual are different, along with company culture as well. As a side, we shouldn't stereotype people by their nationality, race, and gender. Therefore, it's essential to learn and understand other cultures as the world becoming more globalized. And of course, we're all unique. This is what makes us all special.